Before I start this video, I just want to say I apologise profusely about whatever's going on outside. It's making a hell of a lot of noise and I can't really do much about it. But before you click off this video, I just want to say that this isn't clickbait. This is my perfect computer that costs less than a used smartphone that I would review for you people. As a preface, behind me is my late 2013 Mac Pro, and I don't mean this thing, I mean behind my monitors, and that's what drives the main scenario. That is how I make my videos, that is how I do my university work. It's what I do to converse with people. It's what I use to actually make these videos, to edit these videos. Just to start with, this isn't my main computer right here. This is a computer that I use for one thing, and that is to play Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Let me first go over the parts, because that's exactly why you clicked on this video, because it's so cheap. I buy from and use eBay a lot, and it's no surprise and no secret on this YouTube channel that I have almost a passion for getting the most out of old stuff. That's why I review old phones and old computers and stuff. So let's go over the parts. The first thing I bought was a motherboard, CPU and RAM combo. Now the RAM I took and I resold because I didn't really need it. However, the motherboard, the CPU and actually the Intel stock cooler are what's being used in the system, which is an i5-2400 at 3.2 GHz, which is a quad-core chip with 4 threads. Now this isn't the most powerful chip in the world, in fact it's pretty underwhelming, but I got the whole lot for £50, including that RAM that I later on resold, which is an absolute steal. And I'm not even including the resale of that RAM, I'm just including it as spare RAM. So if you want this system and you want this setup, you can just have some spare RAM. Now I bought it as a bundle on eBay, and the reason that these things are so popular and so cheap is because they were so popular in schools and businesses, because a lot of schools and businesses use the base Model i5, the 2400, and every few years, because of some kind of system that they run, they have to replace it even if it still works perfectly fine. So you can find i5-2400s for like £20 on eBay, and I got this whole setup for like £50, which is crazy. Then I bought some RAM. Now, if you don't know, RAM is increasingly more expensive, and so RAM is more difficult to find at a low price. However, I got some bargain basement 1333 MHz, 8 gigs of Corsair value for like £30. It was an amazing buy, and I just bought it. I just had to buy it right then and there. So this RAM and the motherboard, CPU and all that combo comes to around £80 so far, and we've already got our base system. Now, the power supply was pretty easy. The one that I have is actually from another system, although I did include it in this price. You can get away with like a 450 or 430 watt PSU, absolutely no problem, but we have an EVGA 600 watt here, just because I had one lying around, and I would include the price at £40 for this. So that's £120, and we've got pretty much a whole system there. Next we need a boot drive, so I got a SanDisk SSD, 240 gigs. It's one that I've had in a previous system again, so I just added the price onto here. You can get them for different prices nowadays, and you can get them when they're used. This is the one thing I buy brand new mostly, which is obviously the storage, because I don't like getting used storage. I don't know, something about it seems a bit icky to me. Maybe it's OCD, I don't know. Although the RAM I did buy used, so. And yes, that is the only drive in this system, so if you need more than 240 gigabytes, unfortunately, this isn't the build for you, although you can add in hard drives, and that's the best bit about a PC, obviously. The case is a cheap BitPhoenix case. It's on Amazon, you can get it for around £30, and it is probably the cheapest case that has so many features. You can get it in a windowed or non-windowed version. I actually accidentally bought the windowed version. As you can see, I've left like the plastic on there. I just prefer cases that don't have windows because I like things to be understated, but we have one here, so there we go. And finally, we have a GTX 650 Ti Boost. And before you click off the video, this card really is better than you think it is. It's closer to a 660 than a 650 Ti in terms of its architecture, and I don't know why they chose to do this. It's kind of like a cut down 660, but at the same time, it's not a bad card. But for what I use this computer for, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, it's perfectly fine. This whole computer comes together at £250, which is cheaper than a lot of the mobile phones that I buy in personally to review for you people. So this OnePlus 3, when I first got it, I mean, you know, this isn't my one, but it's the one I borrowed from Morgan. The original one I got was over £300. There are all the iPhones, there's the Pixel, there's all these other phones that cost way more than this thing. And let me tell you, this is my favourite PC that I've ever owned. And I say PC as in Windows space. I've had 6-core Extreme Edition i7s, I've had dual 780 Ti's, I've had tons of new systems. If you guys remember, I actually built a computer back in April of last year that had like a GTX 1080 and a 7700K, and it's now on the channel. I've had all these things, but this computer is my favourite. and let me tell you why. I'm running Windows 8.1 Pro, which, okay, to some of you may seem a little bit stupid, and I'm not including it in the price because I personally got it for free. I was lucky enough to go to a college that was partnered with Microsoft DreamSpark, and maybe they changed the name now, but if you look up Microsoft DreamSpark, you'll know what I mean. They gave us software and product keys for a bunch of different Microsoft products, including Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office, and of course, a lot of Windows products. I really liked Windows 8.1 because I've personally never had a technical difficulty with a Windows 8.1 device. I've had technical difficulties with Windows 7, with Windows 8, and Windows 10. Windows 10 being especially buggy for me. But Windows 8.1 Pro, not a problem, and I really enjoyed using this. Now, of course, if I uninstall it, unfortunately I lose my license because that's just how Microsoft DreamSpark works. So the fact that I'm able to keep Windows 8.1 on here is really cool. Now, I did run some benchmarks because although I don't make a lot of computer videos, I do watch a lot of computer videos. So I put Cinebench in there and I put Unigine superposition is it? Superposition. And as you can see, the scores aren't actually that good. They're pretty bad actually. But again, this isn't exactly what I use the system for. I just wanted to give you guys some numbers because I know a lot of you spec heads will want to see the numbers. For what I use it for, specifically Counter-Strike, let's dive in to see how that works. Now, you'll automatically be able to see that I'm not playing this at 1080p. I'm playing it at 1280 by 1024 stretched. And if you're really into your pro CSGO, a lot of pros play it stretched, a lot of players play it stretched. Pretty much anyone who's more than just a noob in silver will play at either stretched or find their own personal resolution and aspect ratio that suits them. I personally really like this and I've got used to it over the years, so I play at this resolution and it's what enables those high refresh rates and actually that high FPS, because I believe at 1080p this thing would go under 100 FPS. I'm one of those players that cannot play on less than 144 Hz because I've just got so used to it, so I'm using this computer at 144 Hz. Every single map that I play in CS, it's above 144 FPS. In fact, sometimes it dips to 150, but most times it's 180, 190, maybe even 200 on some maps as well. I also don't play at the highest texture settings. I have pretty much everything on low or medium, some on high, and of course we do have the resolution cranked very low below 1080p. And again, to a lot of people, these might seem like compromises. These might seem like, wow, how is this in any way perfect? You have to lower your resolution and you forget the main issue. This is perfect for playing Counter-Strike. Now, you will lose out on a few things. Okay, this doesn't have a lot of power. You can't put M.2 SSDs in it. In fact, the front panel USB 3.0 doesn't work because there's no front panel USB 3.0 header. But what it is one of the cheapest computers I've ever bought or put together. I turn it on, I play Counter-Strike, I turn it off, and then I go back to my Mac for pretty much everything else. And I know I'm not great at these PC videos, but I really want to showcase just what you can do for your money. I'm a huge advocate of getting the most out of old stuff and reusing stuff and just making the most out of things. And I feel like this computer is almost like the poster child of that, reusing old hardware and maybe mixing it in with some really cheap low-end hardware in terms of the case, and coming to the conclusion that it's actually very, very satisfying to reuse old stuff. To make the most of what you've got is a life skill. It's also something that's very rewarding. Yeah, okay, I could slap together like a 7700K and a GTX 1080. I've already done that. But it's not as rewarding as this. So I'm going to leave this video here because I feel like I'm rambling a little bit at this stage. Please do let me know in the comments what you want to see maybe from this computer, or maybe you want to see some other computer stuff. I actually have a server down there that cost me like £100. I have a bunch of other computer hardware because I'm of course a computer technician. But if you don't want to see that, then that's fine. I have a bunch of new phone stuff coming out soon, including a Moto X4 review and making the most out of your smartphone camera. Anyway, I want to say a massive thank you to the recent subscribers and the recent support on the new videos. Really, really cool from you guys again. It kind of does mesmerize me a bit that there are some people who really, really want to see the video first or something like that. I know, it's cool to me. It's something new. I've never had that before. Please do like this video or dislike this video based on what you want, because it actually does help me if you dislike the video to dislike it, because then I can see whether you want that content or not, and it makes the whole scenario a lot easier. Do follow me on social media because it helps me out, and we can also start a conversation over there and get some more interaction going. I've actually really enjoyed using YouTube polls recently. You probably noticed if you saw the spam of polls on my channel, but that kind of data really helps me out because then it lets me know what kind of videos you guys want to see. And subscribe if you're new around here to never miss a video like this one, because it's free. Thank you so much to Ross for supporting me on Patreon. Mine's been Ryan Thomas with Failtech, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.